Welcome in, quick hitters. Welcome in, Goodymo short crew. It is Super Saturday. Weekend is here. It comes quick, leaves fast, but enjoy it while it's here. We don't cover the Thursday night game. We didn't get a chance to run over the box sheet on that game. But man, college football today is hyped up. Yes, I will be watching Colorado versus Colorado State. The hype is too good, so I got to check in on that tonight. And hopefully Colorado pulls it out. A lot of talk around that game. As far as the Eagles in that game, they came out slow. They remind me of that preseason game when they came out, they couldn't get anything together. Then they went in at halftime, came back out. They started making some things work, put some plays together, and then they was able to come out of that game. But man, what surprised me is the running game. When the last time you seen an Eagles team run the ball, power drive over a team, extending drives for a touchdown? It's been a long time. Vikings were saying, you're not going over the top. We done seen this story before. We're going to force you to run the football. We're going to see if you can win the game running the football. That's exactly what they did. Eagles came out, they stuck with the run. They was picking up 4-5 yards of play. Then they was able to sneak one in to Devontae Smith, got him for deep for a touchdown. And we just had to spot it out. We had to play an ugly game. And I like that game because it showed that the Eagles can win ugly if need be. Because we real fancy, we flashy, we like big plays, we like to be cute with it on offense. But just to show that we can ground and pound, I think that's going to pay dividends down deep into the season when you play against these great defensive teams that's going to force you to run the ball and try to stuff you and stuff you and stuff you. And if they bring people up, we go over the top. They pull them back, well, we're going to run the ball as well too. Now Swift, I look at Swift like a guy that's coming out of the backfield. He can catch, but as far as his running, I know he can run, but I didn't know he can run like that. I didn't think he was that tough to where he can do a carry after carry after carry and get greater as the game moves along. He did that. Over 100 yards. You would have told me Swift was going to run for 100 yards in this ball game. I'd say no. I would have said no because I was like, he's not going to get enough carries. We don't run the ball like that. We go in the air. Well, we stuck with the run. They changed their defense up. They weren't giving up big plays. They was going to force us to run and try to stuff us in the running. Couldn't do that. I mean, they were there, but Swift, man, he was hitting players, bouncing off of them, getting yardage. It wasn't like he had all this room to run, jamming into the line, getting an extra 2 to 3 yards. He was the player of the game. As far as the Vikings, man, the Vikings came out. They could have got a big lead early. It seemed like they were rolling a little bit. They had their offense moving, but the turnovers hurt them bad. Every time they got a long drive going, somebody fumbled the ball or a strip sack. Now, we caused those fumbles. I don't want to say they were gifts because we forced those fumbles, hitting the arm down, having the ball squeeze out, catching Cousins on the blind side, knocking it away from him. But without those turnovers, it would have been a different ball game. It would have been a tighter ball game, and maybe the Vikings would have pulled it out if it wasn't for those turnovers. Because like I said, they didn't have no problem moving the ball. They just couldn't finish the drives. And just like Jefferson, he had a touchdown he was going for, fumbled the ball right in the back of the end zone, touchback. Eagles ball headed the other way. So this was a funky, funny game the way it was played out, especially in the first quarter. First half, first quarter, however you want to look at it, but it was slowly moving. They couldn't sustain drives. At least the Eagles couldn't sustain drives. They were just throwing out, running the ball, getting stuffed here and there until they realized they went to halftime and said, you know what, we're just going to stick with this run. They want us to run it. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. We're going to stick with it until we break loose. And that's what happened. We was able to move that line of scrimmage, pound and pound and pound, run some clock, control the clock, pick up first downs, and then we surprise them over the top every once in a while. Now, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts on the sideline. I understand where A.J. Brown is coming from. He's a wide receiver. You know these wide receivers, man. They want the ball, whether you're winning or losing. I can understand where he's coming from, but he also has to understand if we're winning the ball game and we got a formula going and we're up, don't worry about your catches in that game. You could see it was an ugly game, and you could see how they was playing defense. Yeah, wide receivers are always open. He probably felt like he was open on a lot of plays, and he probably was open on a lot of plays. But Smith was getting bulk of those catches. And I think that might have bothered him a little bit. He's looked at as the number one receiver. I could understand that. But A.J. Brown, understand the bigger goal is to win a Super Bowl, is to win games. That is the name of the game, to win games. So if you have 1 catch, 2 catch, 3 catch, it doesn't matter as long as we win in the ball game. I know you want to show people that you're the number one receiver. And I can feel it to that point. I really can. The reason why, because these guys want to get paid as well too. And he's looking at it like, if I'm not getting my numbers, yeah, we're winning ball games, but if I don't have a certain amount of catches, I don't have a certain amount of yards at the end of the year, I'm not going to get the bag. And that's what these players look at. That's why you see players getting angry and frustrated on the sideline when they're not getting the ball, whereas the running backs, most of this is wide receivers that complain not getting the ball when they're winning. Which is crazy, because you look at it like, hold on, man, we're winning the game. We're up by 14-21, and you arguing with me about giving you the ball? That's the reason why. They want the bag. They want their numbers. They want to feel like they're involved into the offense. Because when you look across from him, Smith, you know what I'm saying? He had over 100-something yards, like 4 catches. A.J. Brown looking at that like, hold on, wait a minute. If you can get him the ball and he's got all these yards, I'm sitting here with 4 catches for 30 yards. We got a problem here. Ain't I the man? You know what I'm saying? I am the man. These balls should be coming to me. But like I said, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, they're friends. They're going to work it out. I don't think this is a big deal. This is something they're just going to push to the side. Next game, you won't even hear nothing about it. They'll be right back on schedule. But A.J. Brown, I know they're just trying to explain to him, at least Jalen Hurts trying to explain to him, hey, man, I'm trying to look for you. I'm going to get you the ball. But realize we are up. It's a bigger goal. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. Don't matter. And then look at how many yards we're rushing for. Do we rush like this in every game coming up? No. This is one of them games that come out of the blue. It's unorthodox. We're actually pounding the run game. So that should tell you, okay, this game is going a little unconventional. So I'll sit back. I'm not going to get my catches. I'm not going to get my yardage this game. So I just need to sit back and just, enjoy the win, which he should have done. But for some reason, these wide receivers, man, that's why I think they just need to get him involved early, which they will do next game. Give him 1, 2, 3 balls early in the game on the first few snaps. Get him involved. And then you can kind of go away from him a little bit, depending on how the defense is playing. A.J. Brown is a big part of what we do. He's going to be the reason why we win a Super Bowl when we move further, because, like I say, even if he's not making catches, that's another thing he got to understand. He's the number 1 wide receiver. Coverage is rolling to you. They're looking to double team you, which leaves Smith open on the other side. That's why he's getting a lot of catches and a lot of balls thrown to him. Because it's a respect factor to you, how you're playing, what type of receiver you are. He got to look at that. He's got to look at that. They don't want you to go off. The coverage is rolling to you to stop you from catching balls. So you can't get frustrated when the other guy is going off, because it still results into a win at the end of the day. So I just hope A.J. Brown understands that and don't get frustrated. We need you on this train. And I don't think it's going to come out of nothing. Like I said, they're good friends. He just blowed up and said, hey, man, he won a few balls. And Jalen said, hey, man, I'm looking for you. I'll try. But you saw the coaches get involved with it. But it's just one of those things, man. Early in the season, you kind of expect this late in the season, not in game 2. A wide receiver talking about, hey, man, I told you, Adrian Brown ain't playing no games. He said, look here, man, I want to catch this before it becomes a problem. I need my numbers. So A.J. Brown, hope you get it together, man. It's all about winning the game. That's all that matters. So we're going to jump into it real quick. Breeze over this box sheet. Thursday night football. Kirk Cousins. And to be honest with you, Kirk Cousins didn't play a bad game. He didn't play a bad game at all. Now, he had, that strip sack, which you can't really put on him. I know you want him to get rid of that ball pretty quick, but when that defensive line is coming in fast, he think he has more time than he actually has, and there you have it. But Foles a good ground game or floor game, however you want to call it, he played pretty good. And I've been critical of Kirk Cousins for a very long time. So if I'm saying he had a decent game, you take that for what it is. But they didn't lose this game because of Kirk Cousins, not because he turned over the ball one time with his fumble. He didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't throw any interceptions at all. He was 31 for 44, 364 yards, 8.3 on average, and 4 touchdown passes. That's something you can't say every game with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins did his job. And if he plays like that, Minnesota should get in the win column pretty soon. Now, they starting out 0-2 is not a good look. I know they expected to get deep into the playoffs and do some work this season. But those turnovers really hurt them bad on Thursday night. But yeah, I don't fault Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins did his job. Alexander Madison for rushing 8 carries for 28 yards, 3.5 on average. He was not a factor. Eagles shut him down, shut their running game down. Yeah, all they could do was go to the air. Their running game was non-existent. And Alexander Madison, he's a good one. Justin Jefferson. And when you looked at that game, you was like, Justin Jefferson. And then you look at the stats and you say, man. Because if you didn't watch that game, you would say Justin Jefferson got off. I mean, he got off. Really, he didn't. This is the only time when a stat sheet really don't tell the truth. That's why it's real tricky when you're dealing with stats, man. Because if you never watched that game and you came here and looked here, you be like, oh my goodness. Justin Jefferson was the real deal Holyfield. No, he wasn't really. You know, that fumble in the back of the end zone for a touchback, that was unfortunate. That was a great play. And I'm hearing that a lot of players, former players, they want to see that rule changed. Do I want to see that rule changed for as a touchback? What y'all think? Y'all think that rule should be changed when a wide receiver or running back fumble the ball in the back of the end zone is an automatic touchback going to the 20-yard line for the other team, or the 25, or 25 or 20, going back the other way for the other team? You think it should just be down or out wherever he fumbled it, and they keep the possession moving forward for a touchdown? I mean, possibly. That's something to be talked about. That's something to be talked about. But 11 catches for 159 yards, almost 15 on average. He didn't get any touchdowns, but they targeted him a lot. And he came out he got his numbers. Even though they got a loss, Jefferson got his numbers. But it just doesn't tell the truth. Jordan Addison under him, 3 catches, 72 yards. You got Hawkinson, he had 7 for 66. So really the standout was Justin Jefferson on his numbers, and then you really look at that he didn't really play that well. You know, but the stat sheet shows that. And that will confuse a lot of people. Let's go down here. There go that Kirk Cousins fumble right here. That was a big one at that time. That was a big one. That Justin Jefferson, that was a big one. Alexander Madison, that was a big one. Powell, that was a big one. I mean, they just was fumbling the ball all over the place. You're not going to win games in this league, as we stated before, when you turn the ball over like this. Just can't do it. Only way you can win a game with this many turnovers is the other team played just as worse as you did. Cameron Bynum, 15 tackles, 6 solo. Harrison Phillips, 13 tackles, 7 solo. Jordan Hicks, 11 tackles, 8 solo. Boy, they was out there hitting. But when you sustain drives and you're running the football the way the Eagles did, you can pile up tackles. See, that's another thing on the stat sheet. Now, I'm not faulting them getting their double-digit tackles, but there's truth into that. The way the Eagles was running the ball as much as they did, controlling the clock, time of possession. You have no choice but to rack up a lot of tackles. And that's what they did. You had 15, 13, and 11. 3 guys in double figures tackling. Then Josh underneath that had 9. So, man, it was out there hitting people. Come down here, Theo Jackson. He's the one who's got the pick. That was just a terrible throw by Jalen Hurts. Nobody knows what he was looking at. Only he knows what he was looking at, but what he was looking at is a wide receiver that he thought was open, and he didn't see the guy underneath him sitting there licking his chops saying, yeah, throw it. Throw it. And he threw it. He threw it. And he paid for it. Plays like that bothers me because that can hurt you later deep in the season for these Eagles. Because you're going to come across a team that's going to have a defense that's scheming for you, that's going to be really trying to bog down your offense. They've seen enough of the Eagles where they say, we know what y'all want to do. Y'all want 25 or 30 or better down the field for passing. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to force you to run the ball. We're going to see if your little skinny, quick running backs can pick up yardage throughout this game and win it for y'all instead of you getting chunk plays. So when Jalen Hurts decides to do a bootleg or he decides to surprise them finally on the pass, when that defense is real tight, he has to make precise throws. He cannot make mistakes like this. Like the Super Bowl, you remember that fumble that was big in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that cost him the game, but it was huge. It was huge. It was a momentum changer. He played perfect up until that fumble. Same thing with this interception. It can be a tight game. You don't want to have a blank or blockage in your mind, and then you make a throw that never was there to begin with, whether you didn't see it or not, but it gets picked off and it costs you the game. You don't want to see that. So he's going to have to tighten that up. So we'll go over here and check out the Eagles on this side. Jalen Hurts, good game. And this is what you want Jalen Hurts really on every game. Because I really don't want Jalen Hurts to try to win the game with his arm. He shouldn't have to do that. Especially if Swift going to go 28 carries for 175 yards, 6.3 on average and a touchdown. The guy played out of his mind. Nobody would have expected that coming in that game. Not at all. We knew he was a nice player coming from Detroit, but to say that he was going to have one of those type of games this season, nah. Maybe out of the backfield catching the ball, mixing it up with some runs here and there, but having numbers like Jerome Bettis, no. We didn't expect that. But yeah, Jalen Hurts 18 for 23, 193 yards, 8.4 on average, had a touchdown pass, and he had that bad interception. So if you keep Jalen Hurts around that many attempts, that means things are rolling. Things are rolling. You're getting it on the running game real good. You're controlling the clock. You're playing precise. You're not throwing the ball all over the field, which is great. I like to do little spot out, deep balls here and there when you have to, but we don't want him really slinging it all day over the field. Mistakes happen that way with any quarterback when they have to throw. You got to have some kind of balance, and you can't get no more balance than what they had on Thursday night. So Jalen Hurts, good game besides that pick. Kind of like Kirk Cousins with his good game. Just his turnover, hurt them real bad. But both quarterbacks played very well in this game. It was just the other guys, fumbling the ball for Minnesota that kind of cost them the game when you turn over the ball that much. Swift, like we said, 28 carries for 175 yards. But Boston Scott, 5 carries for 40 yards, 8 on average. I think he got a little hurt in that game. He didn't get to come back. He's a little butterball turkey. When he gets that ball downhill, watch out, because he's coming down the alley, and you got to lay some wood on him. He's just a little short, stocky guy. If you're not keeping an eye on him, he can leave the brush, and next thing you know, he's running down the field for a 35-yard touchdown. That's the type of running back he is. I expected Rashard Penny to get a little more action, but 3 carries for 9 yards. But for some reason, they said, Swift, we going with you. We're going to give you the ball a lot. But I tell you what, they're going to try to feature him a lot more since he had a game like this. So you can expect a lot more carries from him. You know, I don't think the Eagles that crazy where they ain't going to every game and just ground and pound like this. Now, if it happens, great. Great. But we can't expect that, depending on how the team's going to play. But now they know that we can run the football. Devontae Smith, 4 catches for 131 yards. Oh, man. Almost 33 yards on average and a touchdown. This what made A.J. Brown turn to Marvin Gaye and say, what's going on? He had 4 catches, 29 yards, 7.3 on average. He's been targeted one more time, more than Devontae Smith, but he only had 29 yards in receiving. And they both had 4 catches. See, that was driving him crazy. He's looking at the stat sheet, and he's like, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on? What is this? Well, what is this, A.J. Brown? We're running the ball. You are a featured wide receiver. Superstar in their minds. They don't want you to go off. So if Devontae Smith wide open with his speed, we're going to go to him. Especially with his breakout routes. He's quick. He comes out of his breaks nice and smooth. And what Jalen Hurts going to do? Boop, give it to him real quick. I say, as long as you win the ball game, don't let that frustrate you. We know you're going to get your numbers. We want you to get your numbers. We want you to get your numbers. We want you to get paid. Matter of fact, A.J. Brown, pay the man.
Yeah. Hold on. Shut down. Let's jump on this. Give me the money. Done talking. Give me the money. Yeah, my dog barking. Give me the money. Done talking. Give me the money. Give me the money. Hey. A check is fine. 1S, 2 lines. That is the dollar sign. Hey. A check is fine. 1S, 2 lines. That is the dollar sign.
Dallas Goedert, 6 catches, 22 yards, 3.7 on average. DeAndre Swift, he got in there a little bit, but just 6 yards. 3 catches for 6 yards. They must have just, as soon as he caught the ball, they hit him, pop him, he fall down to the ground. Fumbles. And Bertain Kobe, he had 1 fumble. Go down here to former Houston Texan, Zach Cunningham. He leads it with 8 tackles and 5 solo. Same thing he did with the Texans. He just has a nose for the football. Zach Cunningham. Darius Slay, 6, 5 solo. Terrell Edmonds, 6, 5 solo. And then everybody else just sprinkled it in a little bit at the bottom. And no interceptions. We didn't get no interceptions off this team at all. 28-34 was the final score. Our defense almost, like I say, if you can hold them about 21 points, that shows you have a good defense. Once they break that, 28, you can't say you have a great defense. So the Eagles have to work on keeping teams in the teens, or at least with 21 points, 22, 23 may be okay. But you can't allow them to get 28 and want to call yourself a great defense. Can't let teams average that game in and game out. Now, we was good and fortunate enough to get 34 points to outscore them and win the ball game. But yeah, you got to keep these teams down, man, in the teams, especially when you got a good defense and you want to sell yourself on that. Keep them 21 points or under. So that's it for this Thursday night box sheet. Super Saturday, like I said, once again. That game is going to be coming on tonight. I think, what is it, 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock? Be good. Y'all tune in. If not, buy you a ticket, go to the game. But it's going to be a lot of hype around it. Got the coach over there for Colorado State. You know, he want to challenge. Like I say, people just going to just talk, man. Because what I think that was, he want to put the spotlight on him. That's what it looks like to me. So each team that Colorado plays, you might see a coach, a player, somebody from that program take a shot. You know, put the spotlight on them. Try to bring some hype to the game. That's what I'm going to expect. Especially if you don't have nothing going on for your program over there. You want to get some eyeballs on you, sell some more tickets, get hype around the game. You're going to talk a little bit. But hopefully you're going to pay the price for it too. So be tuning in to that one. Y'all enjoy y'all Super Saturday. I just wanted to come in. I didn't get to do the stat sheet the other day for Thursday night. But Eagles moved 2-0, and it wasn't pretty. It was ugly. But ugly wins count too, and they might have to deal with playing ugly later on down the line in the season. So they already had their little taste of it. So it's not going to be pretty all the time. So 2-0 moving forward, and we'll see what's going to happen from there. So y'all enjoy y'all Super Saturday. And I want to send a shout out to the new subscribers. I appreciate it. G.S.Q.H, and we out of here. Peace.